Good morning, team. Hey, I want to take just a couple minutes to share a couple thoughts this morning that I hope will really help. I don't know what you were doing this morning at 5:30, but I was thinking of you. This morning I was taking my run, which is my clarity break, my meditation time, my prayer time, my think tank time, my strategy time. But this morning at 5:30 for at least a half an hour, I was thinking of you. And guys, I want you to know how much I am contending for you, because we're about to undergo, perhaps, I think, a defining moment at M&J Almanac. And by moment, I don't mean literally. It's really a defining experience, a defining time for our firm. And I dare say it's also going to be a defining experience in your life. And honestly, it's going to be difficult. But who's to say that experiences like this cannot be a positive catalyst for growth for all of us? I've shared with you briefly about getting fired from my first real job at Avco Financial Services in California. The little backstory to this: having been promoted so quickly from account rep to account or assistant manager to branch manager at the age of 28, I knew a lot of what to do that got me promoted, but I didn't know the back end stuff, i.e., the accounting and the closing of the books. And so my regional manager said, hey, I'll come in at the last week of every month and we'll close out the books together until you get a hang of it. And so he would continue to do that. And for about 5 months in, he came in to do that at the end of a month. And as he spent the week with me, Monday through Friday, at the end of the day on Friday, he pulled me into the back of the office and said, Dan, I hate to tell you this, but I've got to let you go. I was flabbergasted, but I was fired. Long and short of it was one of my employees had either lost or stolen a bank deposit 3 days earlier, and I didn't know about it. Actually, a week earlier, something like that. Bottom line is, I didn't know the back end of the business, so I didn't catch it. And so though my manager promoted me and loved me and wanted me to succeed, it was his boss, VP of whatever, and his name was Will Canoop. I still remember it. He's the one that said, he's got to go. I got fired. I was 28 years old. I had just moved my wife out from Chicago to California to help plant a church. And I'd been out there 2.5 years, maybe 2.5 years, year and a half, 2 years, something like that. And I was fired. My wife was 6 months pregnant. And I thought, what the heck am I going to tell her dad? Defining moment for me. Years later, I was in the ministry. I told you that I had that mutual conversation from a boss's boss named Tony Singh. And he is the one that said, basically, it's time to move on. And that was devastating, because that was my dream. That was what I was going to do till the day I died. And yet, the reality was, the dream to be in the full-time ministry was really my dream, not our dream in terms of my wife and I. And so for 10 years, she was my cohort and partner in the ministry, and yet it had never been her dream. And so in reality, making this move out of the ministry was the best thing that ever happened in my marriage. And I'm grateful for it. Then fast forward a number of years to my years at Target. And HR went splendidly, swimmingly, you might say. But logistics didn't. I worked super hard to be a B player. It just wasn't my strength. And after 3.5 years of gritting it out and working super hard to be a B player, I finally decided to step away. And I went back to human resources, which is where I am today. So events happen And if we take advantage of them, they can be catalytic to our growth. Or they could be cataclysmic, catastrophic. It's our choice. You may have heard of this from the book Good to Great by Jim Collins. He talks about the Stockdale paradox. There was an admiral named, well, I don't even know his first name, James Stockdale. And he was a POW in the Vietnam War. And he explains how to go through an incredible crisis. He says, when he was asked, how'd you make it through that tough experience? He said, I never doubted that not only would I get out, but in the end, I would prevail. And that this experience would be the defining moment of my life, which in retrospect, I would not trade. We're not about to be POWs, but we're going to go through a trying experience that's going to last weeks, maybe the aftershocks, months. I'm asking you to take some time, get your clarity break, get your mooring and say, who am I going to be through this challenging process? You better get connected with your why. You better get connected with who you have decided to be, or you'll be tossed to and fro through this challenging experience. Your team is going to need you to be strong to work through this. So I just really encourage you, decide that this experience is going to be catalytic and not catastrophic for the firm and for you as a leader, and therefore, in turn, for our people. Hope this helps. Thanks.